Were posted on the Forestville.town.com website, on the town hall bulletin board, and announced on WDOR and WBDK radio. The clerk's minutes, the April 16th, 2019 annual meeting minutes were read. Motion was made by Jason Klahaj, second by Larry Huber, to accept the minutes as read, and the motion carried. On the annual report, the clerk presented the annual 2019 financial report. No questions were asked. Motion was made by Larry Huber, second by Jason Klahaj, to accept the annual report presented. Motion carried. On chairman's comments, Chairman Roy Engelbert commented on the chip sealing of 4 roads completed in 2019. And the town board will continue to monitor the roads. All new street signs have been installed, and the town hall bathrooms were painted, and lights were installed in the pavilion with a grant from Raybrook Foundation and a donation from the Lions Club. Citizens' questions, there were no questions or comments and no other business to be transacted. The next annual meeting will be scheduled for April 20th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Motion to adjourn was made by Larry Huber, second by Jason Klahaj. Meeting adjourned at 6:50. Respectfully submitted, Ruth Kirscher, clerk.
You heard minutes from last year's annual meeting. Motion would be ordered to accept the minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that. Lauren Eager has joined the meeting.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have been approved. Next, we have the annual report from the clerk.
Okay, everyone has an annual report in front of them. Okay, the top portion is just a balance of the accounts, and I just want to point something out. If you see, it excluded the advanced taxes from 2019 of $408,000, and that was collected at the end of 2020. And if you look, or actually at the end of 2019, if you actually look to the bottom number is $218,000, so it's $190,000 less collected at the end of this year, this past year, from the taxes. Yeah, so that, I just thought that was interesting. People paid last year, the 2 years ago, and not this year, as much. I suppose could have been from the COVID too. So under town revenues, we just have the general property taxes and taxes collected. And then intergovernmental revenues, I just want to point out the culvert aid, we got $11,300 this year, which we haven't gotten over the past year or prior year. And the highway aids was about 11,000 more in 2020 than in 2019. And another addition was the We Cares grant and the Routes to Recovery grant. The We Cares was $926 and the Routes to Recovery was $9,031. And the We Cares was mostly expenses for the election and a lot of postage. I think the postage was $450. And also they paid for the plexiglass and some of the sanitizing equipment. Also on the Routes to Recovery, that was mostly spent for Zoom capability and also for postage for elections. Licenses and permits is about the same as the prior year, except the building permits was a little bit less. Under miscellaneous, the roof damage claim, that is the insurance money that we received for the hail damage from the prior year. And that was $17,867. And the town hall and rental was about $1,300 less this past year. Under general government, the town board expenses was very comparable to 2019. And also the financial administration was very comparable. The one that was up higher was for general administration. Most of that was for election expense, and a lot of it was for stamps for sending out absentee ballots. And also we had the garbage mailer that we had sent out to the public. Under general building, the shingles on the building was $15,337 for all 3 buildings, and the insurance would have covered that, more than covered that amount. Under general government, the insurance was a little bit less than the prior year. And under public safety, we have the added curbside pickup of $22,126. Under public works, there was, let's see, the snow control, the prior year was 45,000 compared to last year's 27,000, which was good. And under culture, recreational, and education, we have added expense on the website of $9,045, and 5,700 of that was for the Zoom and was covered by Routes to Recovery grant. And on the back page, we just have the summary of the taxes that were collected for different entities. We got the state and the county and the school taxes collected and paid, and that balance out. Under general fund, that's just a balance of the accounts. And when you look at the bottom, $391,000, the prior year, it was, or wait, I should say it was 172,000 was our balance this year, and that you can see in the front what it was, 172. So that's the amount of money that we had at the end of the year in our coffers. Under Forestville Town Cemetery, that was very comparable to last year's too. There weren't too many changes in there. Are there any questions?
I would like to comment because this is the annual public meeting. We have Lauren Eaker and Monica Nelson have joined,
Okay.
and they are welcome to open their microphones if they wanted to speak.
Ruth, now, this was all handed out at our recent election.
Yes, at the election, yes, and I have some on the.
Quite a few people got the receipts. Okay.
Yes, and I did do the Form C report, and that was completed. I believe it was in March 4th, yes, it was completed.
I may have to allow them to. Okay. I may have to add. Monica, are you able to hear?
Yes, I can hear. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're very clear tonight, everybody.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Ruth. On my few comments this evening, Ruth mentioned about the new roofs. Yes, a year ago on April 6th, we had a hailstorm and all the roofs were damaged, and with the insurance money, we were able to put 40-year shingles on the roof. So that was the first thing that happened. The other work that we did and was on our garbage collection back in 2019. We had a referendum and over 70% of the population said, yes, we want garbage collection. So your town board worked with 3 different vendors to get the different lowest price possible. And yeah, during the winter of 2020, we looked at the maps and see where there's homes with sewers. And so our township has garbage pickup on all homes with sewers. That was the criteria. And fortunately, most people are very, very happy with that service, and it's working very well. We have no problems with our collections on that. And the first letter went out on the first week of September, and to all citizens, and service started the first week of September, and that was at $15.85 a month. Now this year, we know the price may vary because of fuel prices might go up, and that's the only variable that we might have. On roads, we were able to service Old Substation Road, and we received 50% from local road improvement program on that. So that was a big benefit. We received 50% credit from the state government to fix that road. And in 2021, we have plans and that's bids submitted out to resurface Salona Road for 1.75 miles. And the cost is going to be no more than $288,000. And that is all the roads we can do this year. Plus we will be replacing culverts and patching potholes. COVID-19 really gave us some unique opportunities, and we have to take the ball and put in this video that we have our Zoom capabilities. We have 2 screens in our town hall. We have an 85-inch screen in the main room and a 65-inch screen in the boardroom, so that once we can go back to a smaller room, we'll be using the regular boardroom for these meetings. But we're going to have capabilities where you can sit in and see what transpires at our town meetings. Later on, we will be discussing what we should charge for citizens and customers to use the Zoom capabilities, because these are really working great. So Larry, thank you for taking on that project. That really helped a lot. Like Ruth mentioned, this was all paid for by the COVID-19, the Route to Recovery grant. We were able to use, it was a very short notice. We had $18,000 from that grant. And because of the short time, we were only able to spend $9,000 of it. Our neighboring town to the north of us, Nassau, they had $32,000 of that grant, and they quickly used it to provide the Southern Door Fire Department with a set of washer and dryers for both the Nassau location and the Forestville location. And those washers and dryers are very unique pieces of equipment. That came up to $31,000 some odd dollars. So they use it all on that. So again, we tried to use all the money we could for that. And we'll be talking about a little bit later in our regular meeting about what's coming up for the next rescue plan we have coming up here. Well, those are my comments that I have at this point of our meeting. Are there any questions from the audience?
Floor is open. Go ahead, Monica.
Thank you. I don't really have a question other than, well, first of all, I want to say thank you to each of the board members and all for working hard to connect with the town during, town citizens during this COVID situation. A lot of respect was shown to everyone, and I think that's so important to model and to see. Thank you for the ability to participate on Zoom, and Larry's work in the background to get the best equipment. It really is wonderful to be able to hear and see without a lot of interruption. Something that goes with that is I'd like the town to support any activities by the county or encourage the county to do more to get broadband or similar service to all of the areas in the county. Right now, I am able to see you and do all of that, but I'll not be able to participate in the regular town board meeting because I don't have enough broadband left for the month after a few other Zoom meetings that I did. So that is something that we're limited to because we don't have good broadband throughout all of the town. I'm far enough away that I'm not on CenturyTel, for example, and I've got the most that I can get right now through Cellcom. So, because I'm not a business. So that's something that I really would like you to support in any way that you can. Other than that, I love that you took care of the garbage situation. I think it's going to be healthier for the whole township as well. And also, again, to Roy for serving both as town chairman and as our county board supervisor. I think we are lucky in the town to have you representing us in several areas. We are beneficiaries of your hard work. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
I did have a question, and it had to do in the financial report. You had commented that the highway aids, 119,810 was up. Is
Yes.
that a result of the change in highway aids from the state?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. They take some average, I think you could explain,
Yeah,
there was some
it-
average. It was 108,914 in 2019.
Right, and so
And now it's
did they recalculate that per
They-
mile rate?
Yeah, they gave us higher per mile rate. That's what they did.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, then I just wanted clarification on that. Thank you.
Any other comments? Or is there any other business to be conducted at this time? Our next annual meeting will be April 19th of 2022 at 6:30. If there's no other business to be conducted, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion is made to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. And what was the time, Ruth?
6:47.
6:47.
And just for the record, I will comment that the first minute or two of this meeting, the recording was not functioning. So your opening call to order, the pledge to the flag, was not captured on the recording, but we got it beyond that. We did well.
Very good. We will immediately call the Forestville Town Board meeting to order, the monthly meeting on Tuesday, April 20th. Ruth, we'll leave the roll call. Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I gotta get another agenda.
Roy Engelbert,
Here.
Dina Schmidt, Larry Huber,
Here?
Jason Klahach,
Here.
and I'm Ruth Kirscher, and we also have Monica Nelson and Lauren Eaker.
Thank you. Ruth, you also have to have a notice
Yes.
on our situation, our people here.
Yes, I just want to mention that the oath of office of all town officers were sworn in their respective offices by signing the oath of office. And they are Chairman Roy Engelbert, and in November, he will have 12 years in.
12 years.
12 years. Supervisor Larry Huber, 8 years completed. And Jason Klahach, 10 years completed. And Treasurer Dina Schmidt is 23 years in November. And I'm the oldie, I have 30 years in,
How many?
38.
Oh, that's not
38,
bad.
yeah.
Okay,
Very good.
Thank you.
We have the agenda in front of you. Motion would be in order to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion made to approve the agenda. Any changes or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. The minutes from February 15th. From March 15th. What do I have February?
yeah, I corrected it later. It's
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need a new one?
They were posted.
We're posted?
Yeah, 'cause I just read.
Okay. Any motion to be made to approve the minutes?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes as posted. I saw no corrections or missing pieces or errors or anything.
I second.
Motion made second to approve the minutes of March 15th, 2021. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Treasury report next.
Cemetery checking, we have $45.40. The cemetery perpetual care, we have $10,127.98. Cemetery savings, we have $4,264.32. The town checking, we have $1,325.85. The town money market is $164,080.36. And the LGIP general is $178,101.38. On contingency fund, we have 50,000. That's it.
You have no outstanding receivables.
No, everybody is paid up that I had on last month. But what does happen with the people that didn't pay the garbage? What happens with that?
Well, that will be settled in August.
Through the county.
No.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's the only thing that's sitting out there, and I didn't know if I had to send bills out for that.
No, that's,
It's on their taxes.
it's on their tax, that's a tax.
That's a part of the tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions on the financial report? No?
Make a motion, we accept the financial report as presented.
Second.
Motion made to accept the treasurer's financial report. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion is carried. We're on to public comments and correspondence. So before we go into the correspondence, is there any public comment?
Again, Monica or Lauren, if you have any comments, unmute.
No comments from me except the usual thank yous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Ruth, do you have any correspondence?
The first one, no, I don't have any other than what's on the agenda.
Okay. Well, I have quite a few. We did get a report from the recycling program, of course, so we get a little money back from the recycling program through the state, it amounted to very few dollars. We had 21.48 tons of recycling material in 3 months.
21
tons.
21 tons.
Yes, yeah.
Our ditches are cleaner though because of it.
And,
Mhm.
they had asked that it be broken down by plastics and other stuff, but they have what they call a composite recycling program.
A single stream.
Single stream, so they can break it down. So that has been presented, that information's been given to our highway commissioner, and he's the one that's going to be prorating it. There's a little money to give the county X number of thousands of dollars, and then prorates it back on how many tons of recycling material each municipality has.
But it's important to note though, like you say, Jason, that's not in our ditches.
That's right. Another note that ATC, American Transmission Company, will be cutting brush on the line going through Rosaire, going up to the canal, just going crossing 42, going through our town of Forestville. In fact, it cuts through my property. Yeah, that line will be cutting, the recycling that. We did our water testing this month, and we don't have any chloroform or E. coli in our drinking water, and our nitrates went down this year. Our nitrates is 1.87. Last year was over 2, so nitrates went down. Okay, and also Ruth, I have a credit card for Menards. That we can use. I read that you could take a photo of that, put it in your phone, and you take your phone.
Mhm.
The other nice brochure I got from the mayor of Sturgeon Bay is that the Sturgeon Bay is trying to obtain the headquarters for the research of the world's largest freshwater estuary. They're competing with Green Bay and other communities along the bay for having their headquarters, because the officials they want to have that designed as a national research reserve, is what it's supposed to be. And he's asked me to write a letter of its support. See any problems with that?
Certainly.
Where is this location?
In city of Sturgeon Bay.
City of Sturgeon
Sturgeon
Bay.
Bay, okay.
Yeah, Sturgeon Bay is trying to design with Green Bay, Imagine O'Connell, and other cities. That was in the move. If you'd like to see a packet of this, I'll pass it around.
I visited some of those estuary research stations in different parts of the country.
Right.
And it has a big impact on the local community, because then focus comes to that community that gains a research facility like that. So it would be to our advantage, I think, as a member of the county to support that.
Very good. I'll write a letter. Next item on our correspondence was discussing a safe trail. You know, you weren't here last meeting, but it was brought to our attention that this is County Road H.
Yep.
This is county property.
Okay.
And there's one citizen asked to be able to walk from here to here, from Manatee Trail over here. but that's private land, and I believe S&S owns that land.
Randy and I took a ride today and looked at it. Ruth kind of gave me a heads up. The only thing that we're concerned about is if someone would get hurt on it.
That's right.
Mhm.
Now, there's a Blackberry law in Wisconsin that if you give people permission to go on your property and they get hurt, you're not liable. That's called a Blackberry picking law. But you are liable if you put, let's say you put holes in there purposely for them to trip, then you're causing the problem.
Well, and the other thing we're worried about is if we end up planting corn there, what happens if somebody gets lost in the corn? Or,
Yeah.
you know, they veer from the trail.
Or predator hiding in the. corn
Yes,
could go
or
after
yes,
the
it could
child,
come
yeah.
over, jump at somebody.
So,
I mean, we don't have a problem doing it. There's just a lot of concerns doing it. You know, we would love to be able to show, to help people get onto the trail. But how much are we?
Well,
exposing themselves.
And to
Yes.
maintain it too.
yeah, and we're not going to put gravel down there, and so, how many feet is it? I have no idea. I don't have.
It's a ways.
It is a little ways,
Yeah, it's a little ways.
and it would
And it would
only,
have to be, and basically, because I believe there's trees like right on the
Yes, I
edge.
noticed
Uh-huh.
that.
So they would have to be in the field
yeah,
to go across.
so what you're saying is that you'd have to lose part of your field. Yeah.
Do it, yeah,
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're not in favor.
not really.
Okay, well then we will say no to that. We won't.
It'd be different, I think, too, if a lot of people were going to
Yes.
use it, or like if we had open bathrooms here in the town, or a larger facility for, playing ball or whatever.
You know,
For
to
the
put
kids.
that much,
recreation.
I mean, she wants a safe path,
Mhm.
is what you said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So she wants something to be able to walk or ride their bikes on, so you literally have to put gravel
You have to
down
have a
And
gravel
push a
path.
buggy.
to
yeah.
get there. So is the town want to put that expense into a path for very little people?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess is the other question.
Okay,
I think the only option there would be is if you were to deed a portion of that field
To the town.
to the town, and then we would have to develop the path.
Mhm.
It would have to be wide enough so that there was space on the sides of it. I don't know what that expense would be. I don't know, what the distance is or anything else. But to me, that would be the only other option, rather than go crossing the property that's owned by SNS.
Right.
If it were deeded over to the town, and we would develop a walking path, putting in a basin and a gravel path to make it easy access. I don't know.
How many people would,
I have no
And then
idea.
the other thing was, Randy said, too, if there's corn in there and we come to chop it,
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're
there's a lot of liability.
Yes.
there.
true.
Yeah.
So,
Well, just another perspective, that's all I was offering.
yeah,
Mhm.
it would have been a very good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but,
Yeah.
again, we have to, I guess, just gauge what, do the benefits outweigh the expense and the potential. So,
Okay, so we don't need any action, that's just more information. Okay, last fall, we crack filled our parking lot, and then we got a bid from Seal Coating for resealing the whole parking lot. Didn't we do this, what, 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
ago.
5 years ago, we sealed it. He gave us a bid for $1,600 to reseal it last year, and of course, that's last year. And now came,
1750.
now it's bid now on April 1st of 2020 is $1,750 for seal coating. I don't know if we need it. If we crack filled it. I don't see any problem with our driveway right now.
There are some, when I talked to him about this, there are some small cracks
Small crack.
developing. And I said, you just addressed the seal coating. He said, well, I'd still fix this cracks. He said, because what you do is you keep it from getting water underneath, which washes out the subbase. And so, you know, painting it or sealing it and, you know, relining it again, it just doesn't look as bad. I mean, it gets scraped over the years. It's been 4 or 5 years since we've done that. So it's a matter of, more matter of aesthetics, I think, maintenance, to keep out the waters where the key really is. So, we didn't do it last year because we had that low spot on that middle
Yeah, we had to fix that.
drive, and that got
We had to
repaired.
fix that. Well, what's your pleasure? You know, we've got our budget is tighter this year because we're spending a lot of money on roads.
Well, I'm going to abstain from this one because it is my son-in-law. I bring the perspective, that's it.
Still your son-in-law? Is it ex-son-in-law?
No, he's still my son-in-law.
Oh, okay, okay. Good start.
Still my son-in-law.
Was your ex?
No, I'm just telling you what he told me. I see him regularly. He said, what are you gonna do? I got a lot of business. I need to get my work lined up. What do you want to do? I said, give me a bid. Which he did. So there you go, guys.
Well, Ron.
Your call.
Well, my thought on it is aesthetically, yes, I think it would look nice. But looking at our budget numbers and how much we're expected to pay out on road this year, I would have to pass. So I would definitely say, I'm saying no to steel coating.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so that's an line, very good. Okay. Here's an interesting subject. We're finally getting information on it. In the April issue, Mike Knowles gave us a little slapping our hands that we didn't do our job on American Rescue Plan. It says you're going to be getting some money, so make sure you use it judiciously. And so today we did get an email that we can do. So bring everybody up to speed. What's happening is that the federal government on March 11th passed what they call American Rescue Plan, or in other words, COVID-19 and other relief package, and giving out to municipalities and states and counties a certain amount of money. And in one of the Door County Advocate, it has been listed that we're going to get $108,637,000. $108,637. Last information I got is that we're going to get on or about May 11th by wire transfer half of that money. And then a year later, the other half of that money, and we have until 2014 to spend it.
2024?
2024.
Yeah, 24.
Correct, 2024. Now, what month I have? Now, just today in the email group, we got an email today from Wisconsin towns saying that we have to get a DUN number.
Dunn's number.
DUNS number, DUNS, done. And it gives it guidance for that. It didn't say, in this email, it doesn't say you're not gonna get the money, but in order to spend the money, you have to have a DUNS number to track how federal money is being allocated.
Right.
So you don't have a DUNS number, we didn't get a DUNS number, you never heard of that before. So we need to get online, and did you get that? Yeah, sent to all town officials.
Yeah, we need to make application, and that's a DUNS number is typically for businesses. It's
just
Dun
used for-
Dun Bradstreet.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
And that's basically, as Mike Coles or Towns Association commented on that email, without that, then the government can't track what businesses and what functions that money went to. And that's basically what it boils down to.
So, yeah, so my question, Ruth, would you follow up on getting that,
Okay, I'll have to figure it out.
that DUNS number?
I probably have information because we have one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna give, you didn't print this, you did not print this letter?
I didn't print it, but I did
Okay,
read it.
okay.
And here it also says, besides the DUNS number, an active registration with the System for Award Management, which is SAM, database at sam.gov.
That's how you get it. Yeah.
That's how you get it, okay.
Now, in the original package, it said that we should consider using it for sewers, for broadband, and another one. Now, last month, on the 22nd of March, Craig Thompson, the Department of Transportation designated secretary, said he hopes that it could be used for roads. Well, that we don't know for sure. The other caution is that hold back on doing anything for broadband or doing broadband because there's federal money and state money. The state budget isn't approved yet, so there may be other monies available for broadband. So don't go out and spend your money on broadband at this time. So take time. But we have to wait for all the rules on spending it. And one of the big things that they're concerned about, there's a heck of a lot of money coming into a particular area. And do the banks want that money, or we might have to find a place to invest our money, is what I'm saying. Because banks can't, it's hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars coming into the area.
Well, in Door County Economic Development, as soon as that American Recovery Rescue Plan Act was passed, they sent a letter out, we would consider giving us some money,
Yeah,
you know, for broadband study for Door County, in which they already are going down that path. And there is monies now from the state as well as federal government supporting those things. So I'm going back to public comment earlier with regard to broadband. It's got to be broader than just the simple small amount really that we would be able to contribute toward that. That has to be an overarching project as far as I can tell. I have to ask one other question in this regard. You're looking at Starlink, are you not? Have you gotten any word on that?
So what I've heard lately is we sent the $99 in. They said people that sent the $500 in right away got it within 2 to 3 weeks. I sent this in back in January and
Right.
haven't heard a thing.
Okay,
But isn't the equipment kind of expensive for that?
it's $500.
It's $500. It's your equipment for $500 and it's $100 a month. But they
Right.
said it's.
But it's
works.
fast.
Yes. it
It's
works.
faster than 5G.
Extraordinarily fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't seem, and there's nobody to call. There's no
No,
way to
there's
call
nothing.
back. There's nothing, there's no way to even
I
get.
had, I had gotten that same information from Starlink, and they said, you know, reserve your spot,
Yes.
send us $99.
Mhm.
You did that.
Yes.
They also had an option, you can send us 500, we'll send you your equipment.
See, I didn't see that.
It was in there.
It was in there.
Yeah, and so those who have spent that $500, they were obligated to ship equipment. And that is where you have people, you know, like Quantum PC and others who are installing and configuring and putting the stuff up.
Mhm.
And the speeds are extraordinary.
Yes, they're really fast.
Because I know that the understanding was that the more people that got involved in it, that hopefully the price is gonna come down.
Right.
But that's how I remember that, but I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I don't know if there's that many people paying $500 for it, that they just aren't getting to the people that are sending the 99. I have no idea.
I have no idea.
But I don't know how you ever get your $99 back either, because there's no way to.
so, but, so then just to back up what Larry said, then our Door County Economic Development sent a letter to all municipalities asking for $2 for every person in your municipality from this money to do the study. My last information I have on this is that, yes, they asked, they were a little short, they're asking for money for do the study, but very likely the county might kick in for the study. So unless you're direct me to, I guess the vote would be right now, do we kick in 2,200 for this, or wait and see what happens with the broadband situation for the study? It was just, it came out of the sky when Steve Jenkins wrote to us and said he wanted some money, and we don't have money yet. So
We don't have that yet.
But we don't even have real clarification
Right.
either on what we legally can spend.
Right.
So we don't know what we can use the money for.
And we could come up with tons of things to spend the money on. I mean, if it was anything other than, I mean, like roads, so. Infrastructure.
Right.
So,
We don't need a pass on that, we can just.
No, it's just for.
okay,
Information. Okay,
right.
Okay, another important thing that we talked about last month, and we said we we're gonna decide on it this month, is we have a lot of equipment here. We have capabilities now for Zooming. We have capabilities for people that come in and use our equipment. But there should be a cost because there's a cost to us for that. We're paying a monthly fee for Zoom. That's a monthly fee, right?
An annual fee, but yes.
Yeah, monthly fee and that. And I checked a couple of people, if you were a business and you had this kind of capabilities, what would you have to pay to have a Zoom meeting and having a technician at your Zoom meeting to have it? And they would be charging about $250 to bring in a group of 20, 30 people into a location and have a Zoom meeting.
Because I'm assuming you or somebody that knows how to run this has to be here,
That's right.
right? You
Yeah,
can't just let them come in and take the equipment
That's right.
and use it.
no, the issue that I see, we talked a couple of months ago about, prior to the elections, about getting some training for the election poll workers. And there were seminars that were online, but not all the poll workers had necessarily had access. And so we had said that if Ruth wanted to do, a webinar or something for the poll workers, that then I would come in and set this up and I just have to sit through so you could do it. That's one way to do it. You have somebody here to set up and run and use the resources that we have available. What I think might more be the demand would be people would want to use the monitors, not necessarily the computer and the camera, but they would want to use the monitors, let's say for a small wedding group, and they had a bunch of photographs, and they did a slideshow on a PC or something. They would want to plug into this, we've got the cable, it's easy enough to just plug into a laptop that somebody would bring in. But what we don't have available to them is the remote. And the remotes are pretty sophisticated because there's so much capability built into these web TVs that we put in here. If we were going to allow people to come in and use the television, the controls are, there's only an on and off button in the back of them. You can see, how do you set it up without a remote? We would have to go out and buy a universal remote, get it programmed, that so one would work here and one would work in the other room. And there would have to be a fee. If you were planning to use that, then we would put out or instead of just giving them the key, you would also give them a remote. Okay, here's the remote for the big room or the small room, and there's got to be a fee for the use of that thing. Now, my concern is that if people come in to use this, because they're both wall mounts, but these are very heavy units, 85-inch unit, that's well over 130 pounds. So if you went to pull or move it around, it could come down and you'd be destroying a $2,000 television monitor. So I have mixed emotions about that. If people wanted to have a meeting and they wanted to hire somebody to come in, well, we get an hourly rate for our services, but then there's also the equipment. If you don't offer that possibility, and it would be predicated on my schedule or somebody's schedule who knows how to do it, we could go out and buy one of these and then charge if you want to use that. Just like if you want to use the electricity in the pavilion, you pay a fee. And we got lights. So, my own personal feeling is I don't think you're going to have a lot of demand for somebody who wants to say, I want to conduct a Zoom meeting and I need the Zoom tool, the laptop, the technician, and all the capability.
I think you will, if people think that it comes with the town hall.
If it comes with the town hall, there has to be a fee associated with that added function.
Right, But I think you have to have some kind of fee with it, so otherwise they're gonna think that anybody can use it.
Right. And it's not easily used
No,
without,
and I'm even nervous of just having that sit there with little kids in here. You know,
it's heavy.
it's heavy and it's expensive and
Yeah.
there's little kids that run around and people don't watch them and.
Well, one of the things I was kind of looking at too, like you mentioned too, how much it would cost to rent this equipment. Like if you go to not NWTC, like say the Y in Sturgeon Bay, and you want to do a virtual anything, their prices are set at a 30-minute session for training, but that's, you know, virtual is $285 for 30 minutes. And that's, you know, that's for a member. And if you get to like, or so if you had like 10 people here, 60 minutes, or 20 people, 30 minutes, you know, session, it's $400. So they really attach a price tag for the use of the virtual equipment. So
So.
Yes,
Something
it's
really-
reasonable. What you brought here, Roy, to start with is a very reasonable price.
Right.
So I guess to go past that, is there a way to build a box around that? So if there's little kids in here with sticks or throwing stuff, it doesn't hit that screen.
like a
And it just
cabinet,
attaches to
like
the
a
wall
cabinet,
and
yeah, just to kind of protect them a little bit.
to protect.
No,
it. So-
plexiglass cabinet, plastic front,
Mhm.
that's big.
Not bad, yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Something to consider,
I don't know how you do it, but
You know, that's a good.
something's gonna happen
point.
to it. Once you open this up and the world starts moving again, something's gonna happen to it.
You know, like you say, you know, we say don't put tape on the walls, and you find tape
Yeah.
everywhere on the walls.
Yes.
Well,
It's just a matter of
we still
time.
have tape on the ceiling from right up here
Oh, yeah.
and over there.
Yeah.
And we found it on the curtain rod, because we didn't say in our rules, don't put it on the curtain rod, I guess. I don't know.
But I'm just saying, it's some,
No, you're right.
Well, I'm sure Ruth is gonna get that question sooner or later, is can we use your video equipment, your audio equipment? And
You really don't have audio equipment
No,
per
just-
se,
yeah.
but just the meeting, the virtual meeting
Meeting.
equipment and the monitor.
And you have two types. You have tapping into with their own computer
Mhm.
and getting a slide presentation or making their own presentation with PowerPoint, whatever have
Yeah.
you. It's fantastic. Or having a Zoom meeting, which we have great, 40 megabytes download, that's great. So we should be in a position to say yes, rather than say, well, we don't know. So what would be reasonable for, first of all, if somebody wants to use the screen and their own computer right now, today, you would have to come over here, Larry, and say, here's where set up, here's what you do, and so you got a cost for that.
Right,
And so to use the minimum charge, in my opinion, would be $50. But to me, that's my thinking, if they want to use a screen, that's,
yeah, just the screen, they bring their own computer.
yeah,
And here's a controller,
yeah,
and this is how you hook it up.
yeah. Now.
Okay, so what about, like, they'd have to have an HDMI cable to plug into it, correct?
We
Oh,
have
yeah.
an HDMI
We do
cable.
have our
That's on the
cable.
wall, that
Okay.
stays here.
All right,
Yeah, that's the.
It's already plugged in.
because how long before that goes missing?
It's plugged in.
Okay,
Well, it's a specialized cable. It's a 25-foot cable.
doesn't matter, it's still dispute.
yeah.
True.
You remember when we put the swing set out there and our swings disappeared?
Yes, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah,
So a minimum charge
yeah,
So-
seems reasonable.
right,
$50, I would say they have to come with their own HDMI
Right.
cable. But then again, they're monkeying behind
Yeah.
that screen
yeah,
to get it hooked up.
Yeah,
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 and there's multiple plugins back there. So which one do you set?
right.
yeah.
5. There's 5.
So we have our HDMI cable comes out now, they just walk over, you come with your laptop, you plug it in,
Turn the screen on.
turn the screen on, you're ready to go.
Right.
That would be reasonable. And so long as the cable does not get removed,
Right.
so,
Or modified or in any way damaged. You know,
Is that
so it's just
Monica?
like anything else. If we have a problem or something happens, then basically,
Right.
you know,
How much is that cable? And you just gotta figure what happens if that goes missing. How much
But
is
that's
that
not,
cable?
that cable is not hardwired in, it's just plugged into.
Right.
it.
it's just plugged in and it's secured to the wall.
And we want to keep it in that one location, like Terry said. There's 5 different ones, and every time you move the cable, you can push it.
But like I was saying, my experience where I work, just an example, like this particular phone has a certain type cable. I plug it into my laptop, I charge my phone, I walk away, I come back, my cable's missing because somebody came and grabbed it because they like the length of my cable.
Oh,
See, that's what I'm saying, because it's just plugs and walks in, goes in a pocket, like that cable could. I mean,
I have
well,
a suggestion, if I may.
go ahead, Monica.
Okay, couldn't you have a fee for rental of the hall as you usually do, but then to cover equipment, also a deposit of insurance to cover the insurance, because you do, I'm guessing, have insurance on all that equipment, but at the same time to give people the idea that it takes time to replace or get insurance coverage, all right, that they would have to make that deposit, which would be refundable if there's no damage, but you keep it if there is any damage or anything missing, so that's part of the lease or the contract that you do when you lease the hall. So your regular lease for whatever plus, stuff to cover damage, I think that can be refunded if there's no damage,
What is our deductible on insurance?
250.
How much?
250.
A $250 deductible.
Mhm.
So therefore, it would make sense to me that if we said there was a $250 deposit
mhm,
required and will be refunded as long as it's no damage or problem, it's a $250 deposit.
mhm.
No different than if you check into a
Right,
motel or
Yep.
whatever you do, you
Correct.
always have to.
you
put
rent a car,
deposit
same
down.
thing.
Correct. And that way, should something occur,
Mhm.
it is an insurance claim offset by the deposit, or for our deductible. So it's not costing us anything with regard to that, except the lack of having equipment if it's broken down or has to be replaced. So I like that idea,
Yeah, I do too.
deposit that would offset at least our deductible. So a $250 deposit,
When using our.
No, anytime, when whoever uses the hall.
if they're
Right,
going
that's
to, if
what
they're
they're
going to
saying.
use that,
Oh, if they're gonna use that,
if they want to use that.
is that what Monica meant?
no, I
Well,
meant lease the
But
whole.
anybody that rents the hall, right?
Yep, because there can be damage whether they're using that equipment or not. So just to cover that, because it's there, people then to realize that this isn't a free ride, it belongs to all the citizens. So we have to be responsible and respectful of usage.
Right, and I mean, we haven't had a big deposit except for cleaning up till this point.
$50. yeah.
$50 for cleaning
Deposit, yeah.
security, but what we're talking about now is offsetting the potential for damage to equipment that's quite costly.
Mhm.
And
So you maybe wouldn't have to worry about protecting that screen then, if you have a term.
Right.
Deposit.
Right.
Yeah. So what would that then do to our hall rentals?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you would implement it, or how many groups would say, oh, okay, fine, here's $250, or can we take a credit card? Or,
One thing too now, like the clubs 4-H and, they don't pay a fee, so.
Yeah.
Like what happened with 4-H and Girl
American
Scouts or Boy
Legion.
Scouts, Legion,
We have 2 Cub Scout, 2 Boy Scout troops meet here,
sometimes, yeah.
and 2 4-H club
Two
meet here.
4-H and Girl Scouts,
And how many Girl Scouts?
one.
This one, so that's 5, plus American Legion, they meet here monthly, so that's 6
Mhm.
groups that meet here.
do we have any agreements with them?
Mhm.
No deposit for them? No.
Nothing.
It's been tradition, I know that.
Mhm.
I think we would need to have an agreement with each one of those groups that they are responsible for any damage to to it.
Right.
And not requiring a deposit, but I think we need to draw up a document protecting the town for these groups coming in at nonprofits.
Okay, so what happens if something does happen, it's their word against yours?
I wasn't in there, I didn't do it.
Yep,
Mm.
I didn't do
Yeah.
it, so do we look into putting cameras in this place?
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
If it's smashed after they leave, they did it.
Yeah, but as long as somebody comes and looks before someone goes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
I
good
usually
point
do,
though,
but-
because you bring up a good point with security. Sometimes, like we said, we've had some damage outside at times.
Mhm.
It would be nice to maybe have a camera that only pops on when there's movement or activity. And that's something that kind of thought my process, a thought process I had. Also, this could be considered a safe place if you had one.
Mhm.
Just putting that out there, because typically a municipality building is always going to be considered a safe place, because it's there, it's like an icon. And
Is there money allocated to us that we could put that? I
yeah,
mean, can we use the money that we're getting towards
Right.
something like that?
well, that's what we'll have to find
We don't
out.
have guidance on
Yeah.
that. And we don't know when we're gonna get guidance. That's the problem.
Hopefully, when they wire us the money, we should have guidance by that time. May 11th.
Would it be, I don't want to kick the can down the road or postpone making a decision, but I think maybe we should really table the discussion till next month
Mhm.
and add to that discussion surveillance
Yeah,
as well as fee.
Okay.
I think it would behoove us as well to go forward with getting agreements with these groups that have been forever using town hall and nonprofits.
Mhm.
And, the regular ones,
Mhm.
the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Legion and all the rest. So at least we should start that process, but maybe table making a decision on cost of equipment until we get some guidance on what can we do. And maybe we can spend some money to put a protective
Mhm.
cover over this. Or maybe put in some surveillance cameras, something, I don't know. I have no idea. But if we can use some of this $100,000 along those lines, it's not gonna cost us, I don't think, that much. I mean, surveillance cameras are relatively inexpensive, and especially when you can get recording chips in them.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
when there's movement, it records.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion.
Make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we table the discussion on decision until next month. We get some-
Second that.
The motion made second to table until next month. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We will revisit this next month. Okay, Jason, the invasive species.
Right now, currently, I don't have any update on that. I will be putting out a call, because they were starting to get their interns together for the season. And once they have all that in place, then we'll know of a plan of attack, I guess, if you will.
Well, did you mail in the requests for?
I did mail in the request,
So
yes.
that's, you mailed that in the April first, okay. Very good. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Maplewood Sanitary District. And move over here, that. Next item will be the cemetery report.
We have not done a cleanup, but we will be doing it. I got some discussion with Jeff. I want to go over the layout of the books and such. Was Wally Graves this month?
Yeah,
Yeah, with one burial.
yeah, one burial while you're raised.
Yeah, Wally Graves was buried. And so I didn't know we had some conversation during the road review with regard to grinding some stumps. If in fact, as part of our road work, we decided we're gonna take some of those stumps where we've had trees removed. I think for the cemetery, for the purposes of the cemetery, those two cottonwood stumps should be ground as well. When we removed those trees on the south along Highway H, we ultimately ground those because they rot in there. And the stuff we have up there on the west side of the cemetery is rotten stumps, but they're also trying to regrow. So if we do any more of the stump grinding or anything on the roads, I think we should include the cemetery. So that's all I have on the cemetery.
Okay. Lauren, you're online for fire department.
All right, first off, can anybody hear me?
You bet, coming through clear.
First time for everything here. And our last meeting was last Wednesday, April 14th. The treasurer, who was on vacation, so I was able to give the treasurer's report for him. In the treasurer's report, in our checking account, $6,907.69. In our money market account, $481,108.20. In the Capital Credit Union account, $50,005. We got our first interest in our Capital Credit Union deposit. Yeah, $5. And in our ISDA financial annuity, no interest is reported yet. There's 100,000 in there. For a grand total, $638,020.89. Does anybody need those numbers again, or?
No, I got it. That's good.
All right, then moving on. Assistant Chief Randy Massart reported five fire calls. He went into detail a little bit about the ice rescue call that was on 315, where the ice pulled away from the bay. He went into detail a little bit more about that. There was a smoke alarm fire across on the ballpark, also the rental unit, and they found burning food on a stove in the apartment. Language was the big barrier there to try to get people to answer the doors and to pinpoint where the smoke was actually coming from. April 2nd, there were two separate grass fires. And April 2nd, also a personal injury motor vehicle accident on Highway 4257 and State Road. So pretty quiet month. I shouldn't say that because sometimes that snowballs, but it was a pretty quiet month for fire calls. And 7 EMR calls he reported. Other stuff we reported on, and maybe Roy, you can take note of this. The dry hydrant was installed in Forestville. And for some reason, the county parks department or someone in the parks department went away from the original plans that the county had okayed. They shortened the pipe by 10 feet. The pipe does not reach now to the parking lot by the stone barriers. So the county has come in and they did move the stone barriers, the big rocks, and they moved them and they put some gravel down. The problem with being 10 feet short is that's 10 feet extra suction that the truck has to try to get water up from this hole, which 10 feet is a lot when we're talking about pumping water. So, but the county also did little landscaping over the pipe and stuff too. So for some reason, someone made a decision to cut this pipe 10 feet short of the plans that the county had okayed. So maybe Roy, you can maybe look into that a little bit. The Fireman's Banquet was held April 10th at Clerk's in Forestville. Was pretty well attended by firemen and a couple of board members and yours truly. Service award pins were handed out, and we had six firemen that received their 40-year plaques. And moving on with the vehicle committee, met with Pierce Manufacturing and they have a preliminary price, even though he didn't give a price on the new pumper. They got a preliminary price from Pierce, and they're waiting on a price from Marion for the next truck, the next pumper.
Do you know what the ballpark cost of that was?
No, I do not. He did not give a report at all what the ballpark was, so.
Okay, thank you.
In firemen's input, we, a couple firemen asked that we hold off one more month on selecting a chief so that firemen can give their input yet. So we're gonna wait one more month. We're gonna let go into closed session and let anybody come in and give their input on who should be our next chief. And Nassau Fire Station, we're doing the cement, the aprons in front, and that should start the first week of April, last week of April or the first week of May. We're just redoing the aprons are all cracked up in front of the fire station in Nassau. And that's about all I got.
A question for you, Laura.
Yep.
On the ice rescue, was there any talks of them going and billing the people that were rescued for the?
We have it on the agendas to start charging for ice rescue calls and so on and so forth. You know, like burning without a permit, if we have to go out for a call, just waiting for the new chief to
Okay. And then are you guys still under a fire ban?
as far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Lord, I had a request for burning fields, you know, weeds and stuff. I know many years ago, people used to burn the fence rows. And I asked them to call the fire chief if that was permitted. Did the fire chief say anything at the meeting on the 14th about burning grass in the fields?
Well, not specifically, no. As far as Jason asked, we're under a fire ban, so I assume there's no burning at all right now.
Because our permits just say 6 by 6 by 6, is that you can burn
Right.
brush, nothing about grass. And this individual, because there was a lot of phragmites on this one spot, wanted to burn phragmites off. And I said, call the fire chief to see if it's permitted. Like, I would think you'd have to have some type of a fire department vehicle out there in case.
Right.
Isn't that under the auspices of the DNR?
Yeah, that would be.
Good thing.
Yeah, that would be under.
And, you know, their extreme fire danger notice has been coming out from the DNR for the last few weeks.
Mhm.
So I don't
No,
know.
I can answer that. So, well, thank you, Lauren.
Alrighty.
Good. Next item on would be QuickBooks. Any update? We're getting the reports on QuickBooks. Ruth is happy. She's smiling all the time. Any problems we should be aware of?
No, just learning as we go.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, my only comment to Dina earlier was that maybe she can modify the output to print and make it landscape, which might make it a tad easier to read, because it is kind of small print, it's like an
Yeah.
8-point print.
Yep.
So that's that, or also you might check with the young lady that helped you with this
Karen.
stuff.
Yep.
And see if she can come up with any suggestions to make this a bit more readable.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing that we have run into, and I think Ruth and I have gotten that figured out, but I had put like the WPS and the CenturyLink in, so it automatically comes in every month. And she was adding it, she was entering it, so we had
It was
double,
like double entry.
double entries.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't
now
think
that she knows that I did
it's
that,
automatically.
yeah, we just have to make sure the amount in there is right.
No, actually, it's reduced both of your work because you were doing double work.
Yes.
Well, hasn't reduced mine.
No.
Well, it hasn't reduced it totally,
The
but,
only thing that it's reduced on mine is I don't enter the checks in again.
Yeah.
right,
But I do check to make sure that she had, that, you know, I take this out to
Right.
make sure that they're.
and you do
checked.
the reconciliation now by account.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. That's
And
good.
and there was some stuff there that I reconciled it last month. That came back and it's like, it's not reconciled this month from last month. So we had to go, I had to go back and figure out what happened.
You have to save it or something.
And I think, well, I think what happened is there was a check in there that for a deposit that I think I put in twice because I couldn't find it the first time. And then I must have maybe unreconciled it when I went to figure out why I had two and, yeah, so it's a lot
That's
A learning
different,
process.
yes, it is.
Different.
Yeah,
Yep,
but it's going, we'll figure it out.
eventually.
and as far as the cloud-based backups, I've spent time with all of you except Jason, making sure it worked. It continues to work to the best of my knowledge. We did have some real issues, Roy, particularly with your system at home, reconciling that. And then I also had another issue that I wanted to bring forth because Rackspace is archiving our email currently. I don't know if this applies to anybody. Now I gotta find it. It's in here. Come on, Larry. You got it. Here it is. All right. No. I want to see. They are doing, they are going, if you have anything in your junk account or anything in your deleted account, they are currently being backed up and archived on the system. They are advising us to not let that stuff sit in those areas because they are not going to back that up. Here it is. On June 8th, Rackspace Email will start making changes to the retention rules for spam and trash folders. Maximum data retention limits of the spam and trash folders is going to change to 14 days for spam and 30 days for trash. That means that any mail data in either one of those folders older than the retention limit will be automatically removed and not recoverable. So if it goes to your spam account or it goes into your trash, it'll only be there if it's spam for 14 days or for trash for 30 days. And then it'll automatically go. It says, since the limited number of messages can now be stored in either the spam or the trash folder, the option to delete after so many total emails is going to be removed. That's an option that I have to say, well, just, if it's there, they'll put it there, leave it there. They are no longer going to do it. So they're prior to June the 8th, review your spam and trash folders. And if there's different limits, then you're going to have to review those folders or they're not going to be functional. So check your spam and your trash folders, clean them out. If there's anything you want to save it in the proper place on your Rackspace. I don't think it's going to be, it shouldn't affect much of what we're currently doing, but it'll make their system a lot cleaner and make our retrieval of data on the archive easier for the system.
First of all, I didn't know we had trash and spam folders,
Yes, you do.
because I just X out, red X, get it, it's gone.
Okay,
Oh, that's in your trash folder.
that's in your trash folder then.
So everything I do is in my trash folder then.
After you've read it,
Yeah.
you don't file it. The record of the email coming into you, after you read it, you just throw it away. You're using a fair amount of storage up there.
I have quite a few emails still active yet, that I don't,
In the inbox,
in the inbox, that I don't. intend to
you don't
delete.
file them away?
Don't file them away. I either trash them or leave them in my,
Okay, you trash them, but there's an archive that says you got it.
there's one that says save.
Yeah,
That's archive.
well, I'll check.
What is it?
And maybe what I should do is review how you're doing that.
There's 2 trash folders.
Yeah, there's a deleted folder. There's multiple ways this thing sets itself up.
There's junk emails.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that does not on this particular system. I don't have my laptop here, so I can't dig into it. I will look at that, and maybe when I come over to get that thing out of storage, I sit down with you and just
Okay,
double check
okay.
it. We got another month and a half.
Because I have never used anything else except X and Stone.
Oh, okay,
But then it's only in your trash for what, 30 days, and then
right.
then they
And
trash
then
it
it's gone.
anyway, so it's gone.
Yeah.
So I thought everything was being saved. That's why I thought it was all being saved.
Well, I guess maybe my stuff is just a wee bit different. I'll have to show you.
Actually, I'm gonna have you set up one of our laptops at home, and then we're gonna go, because I made up my decision what I'm gonna do, so
Well, as soon as, like I said, as soon as you get your
Yep.
laptop,
Yeah.
let me
I'll
know.
let you know.
And
Stop
we've run into weird little issues on setting these things. The biggest issue we've run into is not the email issue, it was the rack space, the cloud drive.
Mhm.
The cloud drive works fine.
Mm.
Your files, you don't have any problem with your files going up there. So, all right,
Didn't do anything.
we'll go through it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, very good. Okay, moving on to roads. Okay, first of all is Niles Road. That road is about 2/10 of a mile. 1/10 is for Forestville town and the other 1/10 is for Nassawabi town. Our 1/10, the price that we got quoted, no more than $18,960, and that includes 3 inches of gravel and pulverizing and 3 inches of hot mix. At our road review, we said we didn't need the gravel in our portion, so it would be less than $18,960. So we would have to we will get a final bid from our highway commissioner, but at this time, I will bring this back next month to get the final bid for 1/10 of Niles Road with just 3 inches of hot mix.
And that's on the upper portion, the
That's-
west.
Yeah, that's the west side, that's the 1/10 of a mile.
That's intrusive.
At our road review, we found some culverts again, 3 culverts, and contacted highway commissioner, and he's going to check that out and get back to us with a price. We'll have that next month. We also will be found some potholes, and that'll be fixed automatically, fix the potholes. The other thing we'll be doing with the new patrol supervisor is to meet with him, where we will be putting a guardrail on Mill Pond, on Mill Road, which is just beyond the park. The first big concrete culvert that needs a guardrail, we decided. Plus, we got 2 roads that need to be inspected, and we might have to put a patch on, so we'll get those prices.
Can I bring up, on the corner of Old Elm and Mill,
Yeah,
where they come around the corner.
yeah. Yeah,
The tanker is gonna tip over.
yeah, we'll have to visit with SNS on that and see if they're gonna contribute any money to that. Because there's 4 inches of blacktop there. We fixed that up. We watched that going down last year.
I don't think it's the blacktop, I think it's the shoulder.
Well, it's the road itself.
The road itself is dropping.
Yeah, the road itself is
The road
dropping.
itself, we watched, when we did the road review, we watched a number of trucks make that corner, and their wheels are in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pavement is gone underneath, it's pressed down.
Yeah, pressing down, yeah, I watched one truck coming down, and it was empty coming in, and just as you're gonna make the corner, the cab flipped up. It was a red truck. But yeah, that's, we spent a lot of money on that road, and that's real thick, and that's just caused by the heavy stuff that are going down, and you watch that, they yes, if the road was 60 feet wide, you wouldn't have that problem, but right now they're coming way over and they're
making an effort.
making it, and then coming this way, they're way on the right side, still that trailer is a long trailer, it's 50, was it? No, 48 feet, anyway. But, yeah, it's hogging in, yeah.
Yeah, we had quite a lot of conversation
Yes.
about that road. In fact, we even went so far in our discussion saying maybe that intersection needs to be 3 lanes wide. I don't know.
Yeah.
What, you know, we don't have a solution at this point in time, but yeah, that's a discussion.
But could there be gravel put around the corner for right now? Could there be a load of gravel or some gravel that would?
I don't think that's.
No, that would be.
Because the culvert pipe looks like it's going down too,
Yeah,
on that one end.
right.
We didn't look at that culvert, but it was
We
good.
did not.
Well, because you can see it was literally going down.
Yeah.
But the
Oh, yeah.
wheels hitting the corner, if the gravel's level with the road ain't gonna break off either, right?
Well, the
If you put
issue
the
is the
gravel-
wheels are in the air to a certain extent there.
Mhm.
When they were coming back, yeah.
But you put gravel on top of that blacktop, and gravel's not gonna stay.
No, I'm not saying on top of black, I'm saying next to it. Like, because our wheels are actually down in the ditch where the grass is a lot of times.
Okay, we got Mill Road, and we got Old Elm Road.
Yep.
And here's the corner right here, that's done strictly by the semis, pushing it down.
Yep.
Constantly. And I'm saying that gravel will just push right straight out. You're saying what, where would
Or
I?
stay there. So I'm saying, grass right here.
Yeah,
So the wheels are coming right here. They're coming, they aren't even hitting the cement. They aren't even hitting the blacktop.
No, they're in the air. That front wheel on the back bogey, that thing is the wheel back here is on pavement. This one's in the air. Now it's on pavement. This one's in the air,
Mhm.
empty. What's happening full, I don't know. But we were watching them return.
yeah.
That's where they really are really bad.
So when they're empty, it shouldn't, why would it hurt it? There's not that much weight on it.
When they were turning, it depends on who was driving.
Right.
When we were sitting across that intersection, they were coming out and then they were doing a real wide turn. Had we not been sitting there, they may well have tried to cut that corner a little sharp. If you cut that sharp, you're all of a sudden got a heavy wheel just going down into that north side of that road. That's my suspicion, but when we were
Yeah.
sitting there in his truck, you know, I'm sure they didn't know who the heck that was sitting there.
Sure.
And here's 3 of us sitting there with our notepads, you know? Oh, boy, they came and made sure they weren't going to wide turns.
Yeah,
They made very wide
Sure.
turns, but they were full. They were on the way out.
But if you look at that road, the way it's constructed in that area, that one ditch on the south side is really wide. You get the ditch on the north side of that road, it's relatively narrow. If you had 3 lanes, you could actually put in a full 3rd lane right on that end. Take out some of that ditch that's to the south and probably add in a whole 3rd lane.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about on the road
Right.
review. If
That
we
would
made
actually
that-
help a lot, even if you're fully loaded going out, or if you're empty coming in, it would give you that much. more
Correct,
room
we
to
have
get
that
in.
room to turn with the long trailer. And,
Right.
you know, that was where the discussion really was.
Yeah.
What could we do to improve
Right,
that? Because it's gonna continue to go.
it's just gonna get worse.
We could see the potential for a truck to overturn.
And that's what we're afraid of. That's exactly what we're afraid of.
well,
Especially with the deep ditch on the south side.
how the board feels is that S&S probably has a responsibility there too. I'm just referring back to how Anna Town works with Ebert Enterprises. And Ebert Enterprises was very cooperative in expanding and paying for a big portion of that. And so I would like to visit with Randy and see what could be done to do that, because like I said, we spent a lot of money for that road. We want to make it last, but now we've got a problem. How do we fix it? And I think we're asking for help.
Another thing on
Maybe the answer is to, this what Jason says, make that entrance on Old Elm Road, west of County, on Mill Road, wider, that whole thing. We can't make Mill Road wider, but we could make Old Elm Road, instead of 20 feet, make that 30 feet.
Yeah, give it that additional.
Just, it's just at the end.
Just
Right,
at the
just at
end,
the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
For entry and egress, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you had a wider, on Old Elm, if it was a wider road, they'd have much more room and you could stay on the roadbed.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the problem is, it's not wide enough for the size trucks.
No, yeah, the trucks, yeah.
But I mean, when you go look at the trucks going out, you know, if you got an S&S truck going out, they're at least taking the time to make sure that they're not, going off of the road or off the shoulder. Where you get an independent truck coming in, they don't care. So most independents will just ride all over everything and it doesn't matter to them.
And it's mostly, I shouldn't say this, but mostly, I think, the milk.
Oh, milk trucks are gonna be
Milk
on.
trucks.
The milk, I watched one milk truck,
That's
oh,
heavy.
yeah, and he's.
So my question on that though too is if you, let's say you did take that, let's say we widen the end of that road, what about the culvert pipe underneath
You have to
there?
replace it, oh, yeah,
But how long does that shut down that road
Dave.
then? Okay.
Yeah,
That's one of the
It
biggest
doesn't take that long to dig it up, you're not gonna blacktop it. right
Because you
away.
can't, I mean, you can't take like the manure trucks or other trucks that go down across the property to H
No.
then, right?
Yeah,
You can't
well,
do that.
there's a short, not a day, but the time they dig out.
Right, because I mean, I'm just saying you don't want to plug up a whole business that, stop them from,
Well, you gotta get the milk, I mean,
Right.
as far as us, we're
Yeah.
probably fine, but you gotta get the milk truck out there.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's kind of go out and come back. And there's no way to get it in there the other way.
oh, really?
No,
No,
So you guys own from one end to the other, but you can't truck it across
There's
your
a-
property, wow.
And navigable.
navigable street.
Stream coming.
So there's a stream in the middle of that? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't go from Old Elm to H.
Oh, I see, I thought you could.
You,
No, we wanted to, we've done a lot of studying on it, we've spent a lot of money on it. And we've gotten nowhere.
I'm in a bridge.
no,
Wow, all right.
okay, that's pretty wraps up our road inspection, our highway bill was only 7,900 this month.
that was nice.
And that was our smoke line, that was our smoke line. Okay, next is a payment of bills.
Okay, we start with Century Tel on 322. And we check in.
And I can't get the hang of these bifocals either, it's still working.
Second page. 3/4 of the way down.
Yep,
Oh, Larry, thank you for the advice on AARP. I went with the 5-year plan.
You're welcome. You live that long, so.
For now, I won't.
Our dog tax is down this year.
Compared to last year. Well, I shouldn't say that.
No?
I think they're about the same. I think last year it was about 5, or was it closer to 6? 5 cents, yeah. It might be even up a little more than last year. The year before, last year it was down
Mhm.
than the year before.
That brings me a question too about dogs, because when I do a dog call and I pick up the dog and I return to the person, can I actually like charge them for that versus, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like if I was to take the dog over to like the Humane Society, when we used to be able to do that, you drop off the Humane Society, a person goes to Humane Society to pick up their dog, they have to pay a fee to get their dog back.
Mhm.
I mean, if I'm picking up the dog and I find the owner and I return the dog to the owner, I should be, I mean, it's a nice service that we're providing, however, you know,
We got called in a horse.
I got a horse call, yeah, that was another one, so.
But don't we have our fees for dog taxes associated with the cost?
It
That we
is,
incur?
yeah,
And so you turn in your time
yeah,
as labor,
right. Oh, that's-
and therefore that goes into the calculation and the cost of our dog tags.
That's right.
Or
Yeah.
the tags.
That's why our tags went up.
Mhm.
So our license went up. So I don't think we could
Yeah.
reasonably expect to collect from them. In essence,
Right.
you're charging twice.
Yeah, that'd be like a double dip, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess not, all right. That makes sense.
I mean, unless I'm wrong,
No, that makes sense,
I'm
because,
trying to think if we took that into consideration when we were talking. I know we took the consideration our computers that we have to, a program that we have to buy.
Mhm.
we talked about that.
We talked about.
Yeah,
but I
we
think
did
you're-
talk about
yeah,
that.
I think we did, that's, we'd have to go back in the minutes to look at that.
Right. I recall the conversation. That's
Right.
I make a motion, we pay the bill.
I second that motion.
Motion made to pay the bills, any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Announcements. We have the board review scheduled for May 18th, 2021. From 5 to 7 p.m. That's the day after our regular town board meeting. Mark it on your calendar. We need the two supervisors, chair, and a clerk present. Our town association Door County unit will be meeting on Thursday, May 27th at 6 p.m. at Nassau Poppy, at the town of Nassau Poppy. May 27th.
At what time?
6 p.m.
Isn't that Memorial Day?
It should be the,
The Thursday
Or
before,
is it Thursday?
Yeah,
Is it
Thursday.
Thursday?
yeah, Thursday before Memorial Day.
I think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a question before we close the meeting. Did you hear any more about the increase in room tax? Was reading your mind, right?
Okay, back in January, the destination Door County sent, Jack Moneypenny sent a letter to all of us about a proposal of increase in room tax from 5.5% to 8%. We haven't taken any action on that. They said they were going to be in contact with the units at Southern Door. I see it needs, X number of municipalities to approve that. And I know a few of them already turned it down. Jacksonport has turned it down, and I believe Ephraim has turned it down. Anybody with motels don't like that addition, that room tax. So we're not taking any action on that, just know that it's out there, that Door County, Destination Door County is asking for increasing room tax.
Well, you should be getting more money from Airbnb. That's part of the tax thing, right? Because Tim Lockhart has his, as
Oh, okay,
Airbnb.
okay. Did he sign everything up?
far as I know,
Okay.
he showed me he's got quite a few people that are renting it, so
Oh, okay, I can notify.
That's what he's using on how, he's renting that?
he's
Oh.
going through a divorce.
Hmm.
And I think he's trying to keep it, that's all he's trying to keep,
Okay,
You mean the house on the end of it?
at the end of the road, yeah.
Oh, okay, I can ask if they, Kim, that.
Yeah,
Okay.
So is that something that we have an option to either accept or reject?
we can give it our, saying that's a good idea or not a good idea.
I myself haven't even Thought it through. Every time I've asked for information, it's giving me more paper than I want to read. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're just not, we're gonna keep it in front of us, but not doing anything about it right now.
I think the Door County Tourism, they kind of control that.
Yeah.
Right,
Because I know for a while, Ransom Flanders had signed up.
right,
I don't know if he's, I don't think he's still doing it.
don't know.
I don't know
I'm in
over
favor
here
of
by the dam
Airbnbs.
is the only one. We just got to check too.
Yeah, but I know he's gonna try it through the summer,
Okay.
just so you know.
Yeah, because he would have to fill out some forms or something with.
Well, there's a link on our website of where they go
Yeah,
to
yeah,
register
there's
that.
information on it. I think we had something on our tax letter to that one,
Right,
that insert
Yeah. I don't
that
know.
one year. I don't know if it was
But
on
he-
last year.
He just texted me and just so we knew,
Okay.
we went down there with
Mhm.
fields and stuff, so
Okay.
that's
Mhm.
all I know about it.
All right.
Another thing to consider for future meetings is, I noticed that the town of Gardner passed an ordinance outlining all of the same things that Boeing said in their letter as far as waste and garbage.
mhm,
I don't know if that's something we have to do because it's a service that is being provided. And it's just like, they went through I guess Egg Harbor has an ordinance about what you put in your garbage and what you can't put in your garbage. And I asked the question, why did you feel you needed an ordinance? And well, they just thought that this was a good idea.
I don't think we've had any problems
Yeah.
with collection, and we've not heard anything from
Yeah.
garbage that way.
So,
I mean, if the people were going to be abusing it or doing something, you know, that violates those agreement rules, then maybe we could consider it, but at this point, I don't see any need for it. You mentioned Tom and Gardner, they're also sponsoring an electronics recycling in June 5th. And I got a copy of that and put it all on the website, so it's on the website already.
okay.
May not be the best way of doing it, the way I did it, but I'm trying to fix that.
Yeah, I could maybe print it up and put on the
On the bulletin board, that would be a
Yeah.
good idea.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
you
do
saw
and I
that.
did.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay. And last but not least, as far as, let's call it spring workshop in the town association. I didn't feel we have, that it was anything that pertained to us. It's gonna be a virtual workshop in May, on the second and third Mondays of May, and starting, and it pertains to firefighting, open meeting laws, budget and basic financing, ethics,
It's basically for newly elected.
newly
board
elected,
members,
yeah. And
Primarily, I think.
it's for the second and third week, virtual, I didn't feel it. I
I
went,
looked at it, too.
I didn't.
There's nothing there.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that concludes, for future meetings, we'll be talking about fees for our equipment here and potential. That's the only thing I got on the agenda for next. If there's no further business to be conducted at this time, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I would second that.
Motion made to adjourn. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned. There's no time.